So you guys know a little bit about my story. I am Serena Dyksen. I am the founder of She Found His Grace, and we are a post-abortive healing ministry. But we reach all sorts of women. You don't have to be a believer to come to our organization to find healing. We love on everyone. So when I was 13 years old, I was sexually assaulted by my uncle, and my family was in total trauma, looking for help for me. And we went to our family doctor, and our family doctor suggested abortion would fix my rape. And my parents, they were not believers. I did not grow up in a home of believers, and which does not matter because abortion is wrong. It doesn't matter. Abortion ends life. You guys all know that. So we were told to go for an abortion, and my parents took that for the help that was offered. And we were sent to the Women's Pavilion in South Bend, Indiana, which is the clinic of George Clawford. And if you guys are not familiar with that case, you can look it up and just kind of see what happened in that case recently. So once I was at the clinic, let me back up. Before we even got to the clinic, we were told that the people outside the clinic hated us and we should walk in closely or quickly. And that is a complete lie, and I'm a sidewalk counselor now. And one of the things that is so important to me is to make sure that people conduct themselves in a loving way outside abortion clinics, because it will make a difference if a family or a woman will come and talk with you. Unfortunately, we have a pocket of people who are very condemning and judgmental, and it really hurts our cause. And we just simply don't have enough people out there that are loving and compassionate and will try to reach women and love them well. And so I'm such a huge advocate for going outside the abortion clinic in a loving and a compassionate way. Once I was at the clinic, I was separated from my parents, and I didn't understand abortion at all. And they just talked about a clump of cells, and I didn't know any better. And a lot of post-abortive women that I talk with, they have been lied to. There's a lot of stuff that they don't know. And once they have the abortion, they are left just hurting, and they're looking for healing, but there's so much shame and guilt that they don't know that they can come for healing. And so what I have been so excited about is that our organization can walk alongside women. We recently have started community groups, and it's called Pain to Purpose. And what we want to do is make sure that women, post-abortive women, walk through that healing process so that they can find their voice. What I have found with post-abortive women is that they walk in pain. And so, think of us as like a sponge. Whatever's in us, whatever wounds are in us, when we squeeze it out, it's going to go all over the people around us. And so post-abortive women, they have a lot of hurt, they have a lot of wounds. And so whenever I'm talking to a woman and they start talking about they're angry, or they are projecting all this hate towards me, I really try to get to the root. And a lot of times they are post-abortive and they're just really hurting. And so in that moment, I just want to love her well. A lot of pro-choice women, when they're angry, they usually have an abortion in their past. And so just love them well, hear them, love them, and just stay in contact with them. And that's something that I really have found very beneficial is even when they're spewing all their hate, I'm going to try to find a way to get into their life so that I can pour into them. And so I want to befriend them. I want to love them. I want to see them. And so once I'm able to make that connection with them, I'm going to add them to a community group. And what I was finding, and this has been a recent thing that our organization has been able to do, is there's post-abortive regret groups online on social media. But what I was finding is that these women were getting triggered. They were getting completely triggered when an abortion-minded woman would come into the group, and it was no longer a safe community for them. And so we actually have a private invite only group that if you contact me, I'm able to get you into this community of abortion regret and recovery. And we walk along the side these women to find healing. And our goal is to help them find their voice and that they can speak and help women, help other women, and also save lives. And so that is really our goal. And also be able to train people on how to be outside the abortion clinic. And we're working really hard on doing those things. Like I mentioned, I'm in the church, and one of the things that I have noticed is that there is this missed opportunity for post-abortive women. We have missed the opportunity that these women need healing. And it breaks my heart because as someone that's in the church, we're missing talking about abortion and also talking about the healing process. And so, my job has been to make that gap. And for me, some people they'll say don't talk about religion, and for me, I just I want to represent it in a way that is loving and kind to people, and that people know that they're just so loved. And I think there's just these pockets of people who have just spewed hate, and I'm not about that, and I want you guys to know that. And if unfortunately you've run across those people who have said terrible things about you because you're post-abortive, I want you to know that there is healing and there is hope, and our organization is helping do that. And don't let those people be the ones that ruin it for you. Your healing is so important, and women need to know that. I think that something else that we can be doing is just having the discussion about abortion. Don't shy away from it. My guess is if you are in this room that you are not shying away from that discussion, and that is awesome. And just be a voice in helping other people have those discussions in a way that, I don't know about you guys, but for myself, it doesn't have to be confrontational. And if there's someone that's confrontational, I just want to see why they're confrontational. And usually it is because there's a root of trauma or hurt in there. And so, like I said, this conference has been amazing in just really talking about seeing people and loving people well. And so, congrats on that. As I mentioned, we have our community groups, and we really walk people through their pain and their purpose. And abortion does hurt women. And I think you guys would all know that. For me, with my story being 13 years old and being raped, people would say, well, you were just a child and you were raped. Why would you want this baby? And my response to that is that I was given a mother's heart. Even at 13 years old, I had a mother's heart, and I had that nurturing, and that really affected my whole life. And, really walking through the healing process and being able to know that, hey, I am able to mourn the loss of my child. I think a lot of post-abortive women feel like they don't have the right to mourn the loss of their child. And that is a lie. You guys do have the right to mourn your child. Your child had purpose, and you were given a mother's heart, and so you have the right to mourn the loss of your child. And so I think that is something that women get really hung up on. The other thing that I want to mention as part of my healing process is, I had a lot of hate and bitterness in my heart for the uncle that raped me and violated me. He had no right to do that whatsoever, but I hated him, and I had a lot of resentment, and I really had to walk through that forgiveness process. And I had to let that go. I had to realize, and a lot of people don't understand this process, but it is a process I had to walk through so that I could walk free. I was drinking so much poison and hoping the other person died, and that wasn't the case. So I had to offer forgiveness to my uncle, and that doesn't mean that I wipe the slate and I forget about what happened, but what that means is that I'm no longer drinking that poison, and that, you know what, I just leave that be, and I speak on healing in a healthy way now. Before, I wasn't able to do that. And so as twisted as his mind is, I find help. I want to be able to make sure that he finds healing and hope as well, and see him as a person as well. And I really, for me, it was taking on God's eyes to see people the way God sees them, and he loves them so much. And so for me, that was so freeing, so freeing. So your question, what are the best practical ways to love women who are going into the clinic? Okay, so some of the best ways to love women who are going into the clinic. You know what? When they're going in, I will notice something about them, and I will say, "Hey, nice shirt," or I'll just yell out something about her to try to get her attention off of going into the clinic. And it's really something to just try to snap her out of it. And so I want to just try to do that when women come into the clinic. I'm so thankful. I've been shown a lot of favor, having them stop before they even go in. And so what I will do is I will just say, I'll just wave and I'll be friendly, and I'll say, "Hey, I have a gift for you." And in my gift, I have all sorts of information, and I will just give it to her. And that has been the best approach. I'm not going to run her down. I'm not going to yell at her. I'm not going to do any of those things. And, do we reach everyone? We don't. I wish we could, but we can't. And so the ones that we do have, we're able to reach. We're very purposeful in what we do and how we do it. Okay, so I'm an atheist with pro-life. No interest in church groups. Okay, so yes, as far as no church groups, faith-based for healing, you know what? That is really an area that needs to be tapped into, because it is very hard to find groups that are not faith-based. And my thing about that is, like I said, I welcome anybody into the group. We just want to focus on the healing part of it, and just empowering women to find their healed voice so that they can speak up for life. And so, like I said, I welcome anyone into the group. Let's see. Okay, so it seems like okay. Okay, so when you're talking to post-abortive women, you just really want to show them kindness. There are certain words that are going to hurt them. There are people that will yell out like murder and whatnot, and that triggers them, and we have to realize that that's going to trigger them. When I am talking I will try to just soften it. That's what I'll try to do. And I try to just have my presence of something that, in my own hurt and my own wounds, I want to just be in check with that. And so that I just know how to speak. And at the end of the day, there's going to be women that are still going to respond in a hurt way, because hurt people, but healed people help people. And so we just have to remember that. Um, Okay. How do you approach women who brag about? Okay, so the women that are bragging about their abortions, I tell you what. Okay, so sometimes we just have to. They're gonna brag about them, and you know what? I will drop that conversation with them, and I will find something, a common ground with them, and I will have a discussion with them on something, and really it gets back to just loving people well. If we can love them well, then we can get into conversations. Actually, one of our escorts at the abortion clinic, I tried to share my story with him, and he just basically told me to F off. And I was like, okay. And so then the following week, I went, and he had a Snapple, and he took a drink of his Snapple, and it was bad. And I used that as a conversation. And you know what? He talks to me all the time. We are friends, and he hasn't changed his mind about abortion, but we're working on that. And it's just a friendship that has opened. And actually, the other escorts get really ticked off at him for having conversation. But you know what? It was finding that common ground and just loving well. And, we just have to remember that, because they view us as the enemy, and we just have to love them well. Let's see. Okay, so Krista, good question. So what I've found, men every single day reach out to me who are post-abortive and just really hurting. They have not been able to share their story with anyone. And I some of the stories that I've heard are completely heartbreaking. I've had women tell me that some of the abortion clinics will have police officers, and that take them into the clinic, and they feel like they cannot tell them no, and so they wanted to change their mind, but they felt like they couldn't. There are multiple stories that I could tell you about women who really did not want to have abortions, and they were forced to have abortions, and just really that has caused a lot of hurt in their past. And so that's why the healing process is so important, and the forgiveness, and whether they need to forgive or they need forgiveness, that is a huge part of the healing process. And also through this whole process, I have wrote my book and my story called She Found His Grace, and you can find it at serenadyksen.com. And also you can follow my organization's page as well, so that you guys can understand a little bit about in a non-triggering way, but in a healing way of a past abortion. Let's see. Okay, so to create a safe environment for women, for us in our community groups, we want them to know that it is a safe place, that it's locked down, it's invite only. We also want women to know that they're loved no matter what, that their past doesn't define their future, and we just really communicate that, you know all of us fall short, every single one of us. And that's something that I tell them all the time. For whatever reason, there's a certain group that has been super harmful to post-abortive women, and honestly makes them feel like they can never walk in a healing spot, and that their past is always going to condemn them, and that is total crap. It is. Am I allowed to say crap on here? I just did. Sorry. But it's total crap and it really hurts women. And so I get super angry about that because that is not okay. Um, what it, okay, so the question is, oh, I just had something pop up. So some of the tools that I would offer an atheist and secular group and not pressuring them to find Jesus. The thing is just walking them, getting to that root. All of us have roots, right? All of us have been hurt by something. And so we just want to get to the healing part. There are different therapies that through counseling that I've used, and I have contacts for different counselors that can help you walk through that in different therapies. So that is available as well. And let's see. And so we want to make sure that we offer that. And like I said, in the secular world, it has been hard to find those resources. And if someone is in this group and they have been have a past abortion and they're in the secular world, please hit me up and let me know how I can work with you on that, because I would really love to work with you and help you with that, because it is just so important, the healing process. Let's see. So yes, women feel grief after abortion, and some women will say, "I am so proud of my abortion," and then they're just in complete denial, and it's just a response of if we talk about that abortion, then we have to walk through that grief. And I think what people need to realize is that a lot of women don't want to feel that grief. And so they will respond in a hateful way, or I'm proud of what I did. And, as you work with these women, you will find out that that is not the case at all. And that is just how they respond. I know for me, something that how I responded, I was super hateful. And I was like, didn't want anything to do with God at all. I was actually pretty pissed off at him. And I was like, God, you know what? I want really nothing to do with you. And so I get that. And that's where a lot of these women are. And we just need to meet them where they're at. Let's see. Do you guys have any other questions for me? I think we're getting close to our time it's wrapping up soon. So if you have any last minute questions, let me know. And yes, so women do say that the graphic images are very hard for them. That is very hard for them. For me, since I walk in a healed spot, I find them beneficial, just because I think so many people don't know they don't know about abortion. This week, after hearing Abby Johnson speak, I had several people send me messages and they said, I didn't even know that's what abortion was. And so in that instance, that was perfect. They needed to see that. For post-abortive women, they need to start their healing process. And so but for me, I'm able to walk through that. So for healing for me was really, I started to go to counseling, but I didn't feel like I could talk about my abortion because that was a lot of shame. And then someone actually invited me to a post-abortive retreat, which I thought I was in a healed spot, but it was walking through the grieving process to realize that I was a mother, and that I could grieve as a mother for the loss of my child. And that was super freeing for me. And so if women can find post-abortive healing retreats or my community groups, it is so important. And it helps us walk through that process of, yes, we are mothers. After my retreat was the first time that I ever could speak that I was a mother for 4. Before I couldn't speak those words, even though I didn't choose abortion, and I didn't realize what abortion was. In my mind, I could not say that I had 4 children. And so that was super, super freeing for me. So, guys, it looks like we're wrapping up. You can find me at serenadyksen.com. I have a book, She Found His Grace. It is on Amazon right now. And let's see, I had a question about how far. So for the people, the women I work with, it is a process. Healing is a process, and it is like peeling a layer of onion. And so it takes a long time for these women to heal from a past abortion. And so we're in it for the long haul. And we're just going to keep walking alongside of them. It's certain things are still going to trigger them. And we just want to make sure that they're in the most healthy and healed spot as possible. So, oh, Herb, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. And I'm so thankful that we have connected, because we need, each one of us have a place in the pro-life movement, and mine is the healing part of it, and so that we can empower women that had past abortions to be able to have their voice so that they can speak up. So thank you so much. I appreciate that, Herb. And we just want to see these women healed and walking in that freedom. So thank you, Herb. I so appreciate that. Herb, are we still going? And kind of let me know. Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate that so much. I appreciate that. And we really, thank you. I so appreciate that. You guys, I would love to connect with you. So send me, you can reach me at serenadyksen@gmail.com. And I would love for you to follow my Facebook page at She Found His Grace. And I would love to connect with you guys. I love making new friends, and I love having women join. I love having women join my organization. So, okay. All right, guys. So that, just connect with me. I want you guys to follow my work. If you're post-abortive, please connect with me. I want to help you. Even if you are an atheist, connect with me. We can work together on this. It is so important. And I promise I'm not going to push Jesus on you. I promise, Herb. I hope that you can give voice to that. And I just want to love people well, and I want to see people walk in their healing and their purpose. And that's all. We have a lot of post-abortive women, an army that can bring it to ending abortion if they're walking in their healing. And so, guys, I really want you to know that. And you guys are loved. If you've had an abortion, you are so loved, and don't let people say anything different. We all fall short. We all fall short. And, anybody that says not, they're self-righteous, and I'm not down with that. So, anyway, all right, guys. So I think we are wrapped up, and I just thank you guys for joining today, and I love you guys. You guys have a purpose, and I'm so thankful for you guys. Thank you, and have a great day.